What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, in this video, I want to talk about one of the greatest boy bands slash music groups in the history of music, irregardless of race, and that is New Edition. All right. Now, their name, New Edition, referenced that they felt that they were a new edition of the Jackson Five. Incidentally, you know, for many years, man, I thought that the Jackson Five were the greatest boy band, you know, that I've ever heard, right? And because of their position, I always gave the nod to Jackson Five. But you know what, man? I think when you look at it overall, when you look at how many hit songs New Edition had, how long they were influential, and you look at each member and how talented they were and their influence and impact on music altogether, I think you have to give it to New Edition. Now, of course, they didn't have Michael Jackson, right? Michael Jackson is Michael Jackson. Okay? Um, as successful as Bobby Brown was, I don't think his success rivaled Michael Jackson. But when you look at each member and their impact and success and talent compared to every member of Jackson Five outside of Michael Jackson, I think you have to go with New Edition. You know, New Edition took the mantle from the Jackson Five, and they were the innovators of the new Jack Swing era. And you know, they had the different variations of New Edition. They were able to, you know, whenever they lost a member, they were able to replace them with a person who, you know, fit right in, and were able to continue to make great music throughout the 1980s and into the 1990s. And they were always able to adjust to the changing music style. But not only that, they were also able to not just adjust, but influence the change in music styles as well. So, New Edition had its starts in Roxbury, Massachusetts, in 1978. And the original members were Bobby Brown, Ricky Bell, and Michael Bevins. Now, at this time, they were still in elementary school, and their main goals or objective at that time were singing for petty cash, you know. Now, eventually, by 1979, they recruited a fellow friend of theirs from school named Ralph Tresvant as a fourth member. And after winning a talent show in 1980, added a fifth member by the name of Ronnie DeVoe. More talent show victories followed, including a prestigious gig at the local Strand Theater in Boston, where they performed the Jackson Five's The Love You Save. It was at that time that they were discovered by writer, producer, impresario Maurice Starr, who signed the group to his small Streetwise label in hopes of launching a Jackson 5 phenomenon for the 80s. Candy Girl, a song that Maurice Starr co-wrote for the group, was released as their first single in 1983 when the members ranged in age from age 13 to 15. Despite a lack of major label interest, Candy Girl was a smash topping the R&B charts. Their debut album, also titled Candy Girl, spawned two more R&B hits in Popcorn Love and Is This the End? And MCA offered the group a deal. Maurice Starr, however, wanted the quintet to remain with Streetwise. New Edition would eventually fire him and sign with MCA. New Edition would go on to release their eponymously named debut album, New Edition, in 1984, and scored their biggest pop hit with the top five smash, Cool It Now, which ended with a short rap section. Mr. Telephone Man soon became their third R&B chart topper, and the group had reached full-fledged teen idol status. Yet, at this time, there were starting to be some growing tensions within the group. At the same time as growing tensions within the group, they were getting older. Their voices were changing, and their material was becoming more adult with harder edged funk and more mature romantic ballads. And this was displayed in their next album, 1985's All for Love. Later that year, they also released a holiday album, Christmas All Over the World, and struck an endorsement deal with Coca Cola. However, rumors of Bobby Brown's growing dissatisfaction proved true, and by 1986 he had left the group for a solo career. Now down to a quartet, the rest of the group recorded the covers album Under the Blue Moon, a set of vintage doo-wop and R&B numbers from the 50s and 60s, including a hit revival of the Penguins' Earth Angel. The group replaced Bobby Brown with young Johnny Gill. Gill made his debut on the 1989 album Heartbreak, which found New Edition working with star producers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. The move paid immediate dividends as they scored several R&B hits from the album, including the number one "Can You Stand the Rain." That's my actual. Now that's personally my favorite song from them. I love that damn song. Meanwhile, Bobby Brown had become a superstar with his second album, the New Jack Swing landmark "Don't Be Cruel." Feeling vindicated by Heartbreak, New Edition split up to work on other projects. Gill returned to his solo career, with considerably more success this time around, and Ralph Tresvant went solo. The remainder of New Edition changed their names and rebranded themselves, I should say, as Belle Biv DeVoe, and wound up having greater success than anyone outside of Bobby Brown. Their debut album Poison was another New Jack style setter, and Bivens' interest in developing new talent paved the way for Boys to Men. By the mid 1990s, New Jack Swing was giving way to new fusions of hip hop and soul that were more organic and aggressive. And although their status as innovators was secure, many of the New Edition splinter acts had a hard time keeping up and maintaining their career momentum. It was around this time that the original members, or most of the original members of New Edition, were thinking about coming back together again. The public loved this idea, and when the comeback album Home Again was finally released in 1996, it debuted at number one, and the first single, Hit Me Off, was a smash, hitting number one on the R&B charts. The follow-up, I'm Still in Love with You, was another big hit, and the group embarked on a blockbuster tour that, while it was very popular, found relationships between some of the members fraying. That's what happens. Forget why you hated a motherfucker, and you know things happen. After the tour, New Edition returned to their various prior projects, with the prospects of any future reunions looking dim. Those prospects increased significantly when it was learned that P. Diddy had signed the group to his Bad Boy label for the release of another comeback, 2004's One Love. Since then, they have had, on and off comebacks, breakups, but all in all, New Edition's legacy is secure. As I said before, I think they are the greatest and most influential boy band in the history of music because it was Maurice Starr who discovered New Edition that eventually found the, more, how can I say this? He's the one that discovered and developed New Kids on the Block, who were a pale imitation of New Edition. No pun intended. You know what I mean? They weren't as talented, and but they were geared towards a more mainstream audience, So, but New Edition, one of the greatest music groups of all time. When you look at each member, and supremely talented. Um, and I just wanted to do a biography on them. Tell me what you guys think.